वेलकम टू स्टॉक मार्केट्स विद केआर स्टॉक मार्केट्स केआर में आपका स्वागत है। वीकली निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी एनालिसिस, वीकली स्नैपशॉट। स्टार्टिंग थिंग्स ऑफ विद निफ्टीज वीकली चार्ट, हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि दिस हैज बीन वन ऑफ द बेस्ट वीक्स इन रीसेंट टाइम्स। तो इसके पहले हम लोग ने अगस्त के फर्स्ट वीक में भी थोड़ा देखा था पॉजिटिविटी, एंड बिफोर दैट वी सॉ इट इन मे, एंड बिफोर दैट वी सॉ इट इन फेब। सो इट्स वन ऑफ द टॉप 3 weeks so far, and I think that's a very good sign. और स्पेशली एट ATH, प्रीवियसली whenever we've seen market जैसे ही ATH करता है, ठीक है, ये ATH हुआ, we saw some hesitation. This ATH, we saw some hesitation. Right here also we saw some hesitation. So in the past we have seen that hesitation happening a lot here as well, here as well, right? Despite all that, we are actually seeing tremendously positive days, tremendously positive weeks. So I think that talks about the overall market as a whole quite well. अभी मैं अगर डेली चार्ट दिखाता हूँ, हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि प्रीवियस क्लोज से सपोर्ट लेके ऊपर आया है ऑन फ्राइडे. सो फ्राइडे, इवन दो ऑन द वीकली, ओके, वी सॉ द वीकली चार्ट हियर, right? We saw the weekly chart here. Even on the weekly chart, it's almost like a marubozu. Marubozu क्या होता है? ऐसा होता है where your open equals to low and the close is equal to the high, right? It's almost a marubozu. I think high के side पे 17 points का difference है, and low के side पे around 12 या 13 points का difference है, which is honestly negligible in the grand scheme of things when the total movement is 600 plus points. So that means कि A average उसने approximately 120 points का movement दिया per day, right, on an average. And B, it means that there was mostly a one sided movement, because नीचे आया वो low बना के सीधा ऊपर high पे close किया है. So that is what my reading of daily is, rather weekly is. On the daily chart what we can see is retest करके ऊपर गया है, and I like to see when retest करके ऊपर गया है, because that shows कि lower level पे जो बैठे थे उधर से सपोर्ट लेके ऊपर आया. ऐसा नहीं है कि इट्स जस्ट गॉन वन डायरेक्शन, इट्स एक्चुअली टेकन सपोर्ट एंड देन गॉन अप. Personally, I prefer that. Again, it might be my bias or something, but that's just what I prefer. So the hourly chart, so we've gone from weekly to daily to now hourly. We can see here this previous close line was a good support on a closing basis, right? But I can bet that on a 5 minute basis, that wasn't the case. See here, it broke और फिर यहाँ पे clear support दिया था. So actually, if we look, previous close was a good level on a NEOD basis. Possibly अगर आप trade कर रहे होते, live market में, तो ये वाला आपको अच्छा entry मिल पाता. और ये वाला जो था break of previous close, if you would have entered here, then that would have clearly been not a very pleasant sign, right? There was a like a fake out of sorts here as well. Previous close के ऊपर एक कैंडल ने हैमर जैसा दिया, उसके बाद शार्पली ऊपर गया, but then we saw it coming back down around 2 times the up move, right? That's what we saw. And overall, if we see, it was in this range itself. ये range में ही घूमा, which means that I would personally not rule out a good move for the option sellers, because option sellers might have benefited here जब भी sideways movement हुआ था. एक और चीज जो मैं देख सकता हूँ, which is I think very important, right? This was the line of resistance. It broke and it managed to close above that line, which is very important मेरे हिसाब से. But yeah, that is how I am reading Nifty. Again, on the weekly, daily, hourly, and 5 minute chart. Bank Nifty पे आते हैं. This is the weekly chart. We can see weekly basis पे Bank Nifty is actually at all time high. Even the all time high level नहीं बना है, it's at the ATH close. So I think that's very important. 37,000 के नीचे है अब तक. The ATH level that we are looking for is 37,700. So around 1,000 points more, which is really not that much for Bank Nifty. So it's within reach, which is important, and that means कि I would personally not rule out ATH in this week अगर momentum continue होता है. अगर हम लोग ये week का move देखें, it's been a 1100 to 1200 point का move, even though ऊपर थोड़ा selling आ गया, which means that 1000 points more is not really too hard to imagine, which means कि शायद हो सकता है. फ्राइडे का कैंडल देखे, इट्स लाइक अ स्पिनिंग टॉप. इट इज वेरी डिफरेंट टू निफ्टीज. ओके, हाउ इज इट डिफरेंट? हम लोग ने देखा यहाँ पे क्लोज दिया था निफ्टी ने, ओके, ऑन थर्सडे, एंड देन फ्राइडेज कैंडल वाज समवॉट लाइक दिस. नीचे आया, इट इज एक्चुअली नॉट प्रिसाइसली बट समवॉट, राइट, नीचे आया एंड देन इट वेंट अप. Whereas in the case of Bank Nifty, what we're seeing is, it's gone like this, and then it's given us a red candle here. Right? This is not a particularly positive sign, especially when we compare it to Nifty. Relatively speaking, overall the bullish ही है, but relatively speaking, it's not as good. So that is what I'm looking at. Obviously, still potential है RSI as well above 60, which means momentum is there. But it's just a matter of whether it will be able to hold on to 36,700 or not. If we do the 60-minute chart and if I enable the drawings, right, then we'll get a better idea. So 36,455 is the level that we've spoken about earlier. अगर ये लेवल होल्ड कर पाता है देन डेफिनेटली इट हैज़ अ चांस ऑफ टेस्टिंग 37,000 अगेन. व्हाट वी सी हियर कंपेयर्ड टू निफ्टी, निफ्टी में प्रीवियस क्लोज सपोर्ट था, यहाँ पे बैंक निफ्टी में वी कैन सी प्रीवियस क्लोज रेजिस्टेंस. सो देर इज अ लॉट ऑफ गैप between Nifty and Bank Nifty, but quite frankly, that is to be expected. So that's what I'm looking at. Again, if you like these videos, make sure you let me know. If you don't like them, please let me know as well. I want to know either way. You are free to dislike the videos as well, as long as you are at least making it known what you feel. So yeah, that's my view on Bank Nifty. Obviously, dono bullish hai. In terms of whether it will play catch up or not, I think that's the biggest question that people are asking. I think there is definitely that possibility कि catch up खेल सकता है, but the beauty is we'll never know until it actually happens. That's how the market, that's how Bank Nifty has been, and it's very difficult to say because here, I believe somewhere around here only. ठीक है, I'll mark it with my marker. Somewhere around here, okay. That is when I had personally said on my video, or I think video ही होगा या podcast होगा, कि it is actually underperforming, so there's a chance of it going up, catch up खेलना. And this was said I think somewhere around here or possibly here. Weekly chart है तो मैं actually daily कर देता हूँ, daily में better लगेगा. हाँ, so somewhere around here, okay, somewhere around uh somewhere around here, I believe I had said that it's moving up, but it's not moving up by that much compared to Nifty, which is pretty much vertical. और बैंक निफ्टी नीचे आ रहा था, तभी मैं ये बोल रहा था नीचे और आया, एंड देन suddenly one day it just catches up. एक हफ्ते का movement, it did so fast that no one was able to really get onto it, because if you're waiting for a signal, it might just keep you waiting. Again, I know it's a bit of a candid thought, but I just thought I'd share it with you. So be very careful, I would say. Even though it does not look as strong as Nifty, it definitely has the potential to catch up anytime. Now we look at Reliance. Okay, Reliance may we can see something very cool. We can see an ATH. It's almost a Marubozu, very close, very similar to Nifty's candle, which is very interesting. And it's almost a 2400 level. 2395 का हाई बनाया था फ्राइडे को, एंड दिस इज लार्जली बिकॉज ऑफ फ्राइडेज 4% मूव. ओवरऑल इट्स अ 7% मूव, विच इज वेरी गुड. एंड आई सी समथिंग वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग हियर. ऐसा सिमिलर पैटर्न वी सॉ विथ TCS एज वेल. ऊपर आया, नीचे आया, लो बनाया, ऊपर आया, इट मेड अ हायर लो, ऊपर आया, it made a higher low, and then it broke out. It's almost like a VCP pattern, but not exactly, like a mix of VCP and flag possibly, but it looks very interesting in my view. So definitely something very interesting that happened. In fact, अगर हम लोग डेली चार्ट पे जाएं तो हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि the price at which we spoke about Reliance was pretty much all the way here. But I distinctly remember even sharing on my Twitter that this would be a very important zone, right, when it was just at 200 MA, because it's very rare to get such good stocks at these prices. बहुत कम आता है but बहुत कम आता है. So this could have been a good level. And you notice something, it would have been a contra trade because price was coming down, right? Price was coming down, and when price is coming down, not everyone feels comfortable in entering a position. But this could have been a good level, because आफ्टर दिस लेवल अगर यहाँ पे किसी ने खरीदा होता, चलो समझो यहाँ पे खरीदा होता हम लोग ने, then we would have gained around 15%, which is a good level, I feel. Good price. So I just thought I'd share that as well. Next stock that we are talking about, and in terms of level C, it's at ATH. I don't want to bottom pick, so I'll just leave it at that. I'll just enable the different moving averages that I have, and we will do 20 and 50, right? सो दिस इज व्हाट वी कैन सी 50 WMA पे भी था, ये भी अच्छा अच्छा लेवल हो सकता था. आई थिंक दिस इज ऑल्सो समथिंग दैट आई पॉइंटेड आउट. Next stock we're looking at, HDFC Bank. 50 WMA was a trade here in August and then it's bounced up yet again. Then we look at Infosys. Infosys thoda niche aaya hai. If I enable the drawings, we can see it's really come back from that 1744 fib extension. I've spoken about fib extension several times. Video dekhna hai, you can watch it. In terms of where it's headed right now, abhi to I think 1670 se it's taking support, so all looks good, and it's been able to close just above 1700 as well, at 1700 rather. So I think that's also a decent sign. But let's see आगे जाके क्या होता है, whether IT as a sector is able to hold on. I believe the recent dip that we saw, I think TCS में भी same चीज़ हुआ था. TCS भी दिखा देता हूँ. I think daily chart पे we might be able to see it. Yeah, this fall I believe happened because of INR appreciation. So I believe that was the reason. And overall TCS also we can see pretty good sort of thing. That's not what we are discussing today though. Now coming to HDFC. HDFC भी all time high level के आसपास आ रहा है. 2800 से we can see some selling that is happening. So let's see if that holds. Overall, it does have the potential to, test higher levels, but that selling that we see here is evident. राइट, यहाँ पे बहुत सेलिंग हो रहा है, सो वो देखना पड़ेगा बस. नेक्स्ट स्टॉक दैट वी आर लुकिंग एट इज ICICI बैंक. ATH क्लोज ऑन अ वीकली बेसिस, इंपॉर्टेंट साइन. एंड ओवरऑल आई बिलीव 715 इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट लेवल. वो तोड़ा तो पॉसिबली आई थिंक 740 के आसपास रेजिस्टेंस है. 715 होल्ड किया तो, और ये लेवल से ऊपर गया तो 740 रेजिस्टेंस है. 740 रेजिस्टेंस is what I mean. Kotak Bank, we can see it's a 50 MA breach on a weekly basis, and on the daily chart, it does show some hesitation. 200 MA के आसपास है, but if I enable the drawings, right, we can see 1820 का जो real resistance है वो है. So given how everything is moving in momentum, there is a good chance that it could potentially close 1840 or so. वो करता है, then I would not rule out, an even higher move, possibly retesting these levels, possibly in the coming few weeks or so. At least RSI 60 तोड़ा है, but it all hinges upon whether it's able to, hold on to these levels. Ultimately, अगर कोटक बैंक ऊपर जाता है, बाकी सब ऊपर जाते हैं, then Bank Nifty has a chance at playing, catch up with Nifty. So let's see if that holds. Next stock we are looking at is SBI. Good 20 WMA support, now heading into 435 resistance. Next stock we're talking about is Axis Bank. Axis Bank ATH close दिया है, and if I just do the daily chart, अगर 800 के ऊपर रह सकता है, ऑब्वियसली 798 है, अगर 800 के ऊपर रह सकता है, आई थिंक दैट्स अ गुड साइन. इफ नॉट, आई वुड एक्सपेक्ट अ रीटेस्ट ऑफ 770 780. And yeah, that's my view on Axis Bank as well. I have a few stocks that are on my radar. I'll make a separate video on that. I hope you liked this one. That's it for this one. See you in the next, and